Okay.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of They Tried to Bury Us. I'm Tamer Kattan, and with me, as always, is my co-host.
Kity Kattan.
Hi, Mom. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I want to read a review for you.
Oh, okay.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. It goes, I just found this podcast, and I'm binging on it. The guests are amazing, and their stories are beautiful, but mostly Kity from Texas is my hero. From Texas.
Yeah.
See?
Because I always say, what's your accent from?
Yeah,
I say Texas.
People say, where are you from? She says, Texas. Which oddly, to most people, sounds like you're saying taxes. Like I'm from the tax office. I'm from taxes. Isn't that a nice thing to write, though? That's really nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you, KCPVB. That's an unusual name. That's the bummer about iTunes reviews. We can't say thank you to people, so we're reading them so on here. And it's a great reminder for people to help us by giving us some 5-star reviews. So, guys, thank you for listening to this episode and for continuing to listen to They Try to Bury Us. We have some exciting things coming up in the future. We've got some merch coming out that's going to be cool, some T-shirts that we're excited to have up for people, and a new website. But now I'm very excited to introduce you guys to our next guest, a guy I've known for a very long time. Not only have I known this guy for a long time, the very first time I ever set foot on a comedy stage was him making me do it. So round of applause for my good friend, Patrick Grandfar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The
crowd goes wild.
It's funny, Pat, because you're a comedian, but you're not a working comic right now.
That's correct. That's correct.
It's so I always get so confused because I know you as a comic,
Right.
and I didn't know how to introduce you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a small business owner at this point.
You and your
know.
brother it's a
Me and my
family
brother,
business. You and your
family
brother
business,
started
and I still think about going back on stage. I still think about going back on stage once in a while, but right now it's just not. It's not. It's not in the cards because starting a business is not an easy thing.
Of course,
especially
of
the first
course.
couple of years. So
Hey, believe me, and when anybody stops performing comedy, I don't give them any crap at all.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I need is competition.
yeah, comedy's not going
So
away.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Please enjoy your day job.
I don't think I'd give you much competition, but that's okay.
So here's a cool thing about Pat. I've known you for a long time, and I feel like probably more so than any other person, I feel like our immigrant experiences had more parallels.
A lot of
probably
parallels, yeah,
mine and
sure.
yours a lot. Like Patrick's one of the guys I hang out with more than anybody else, and so it was really interesting for me to feel like we had so much in common when you come from a faith and background that I don't know that much about. You're Iranian, like a lot of people in LA,
Right.
But your family's Baha'i.
Right. My father's family is originally Jewish, converted to Baha'i about 100 years ago. And then my mother's family is actually Assyrian with an A, and they're Christians. So there's technically no Muslims in my family, but most
that's similar.
of my parents' friends are Muslim though. So growing up, I was around everybody. We still have family that's Jewish on my dad's side. We still have. I mean, the one good thing about being not Muslim from Iran is that because of the revolution, everybody's scattered. So we have cousins in like half the countries of the world. You
Yeah.
know? Like I have cousins in Brazil, in France, in China, like literally.
Sure. It's almost like being like a drag queen in Texas.
It's exactly like being a drag queen in Texas. Not kinda.
But it's a little bit like being a vegetarian in a barbecue state, right? You're like the opposite. You're the salad on the McDonald's menu.
Correct.
You're not in a world of Big Macs. You're a fry.
That's correct. That's correct.
And that's very much what our family felt like. I think a lot of people who were of the Jewish faith and for whatever reason their families converted, a lot of people converted to some form of Christianity as it was easier than going from Judaism straight to Islam.
Right. Yeah.
Or as a way to maintain
It's a
some
way
of their
step.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that must have been unusual. I imagine your parents' experience must have been similar to mine in the sense that when you're a minority in any country, you feel like second-class citizens.
Yeah, they were not only were they minorities, but in one sense or another, they looked down on each other as well.
Wow.
I mean,
Why?
you know, my father's family. See, Baha'is. God, how do I say this without pissing anybody off? You know, Baha'is are sort of like they're kind of like the Mormons of the Middle East. You know, they had a prophet that came after Muhammad, so they're very hated by the Muslims.
So
you
Baha'i is
know?
even newer than Islam.
Oh yeah, Baha'i came around the time of Mormonism, which is why I
Oh,
make
wow.
that parallel too. It was like in the 1800s. It's
Wow.
not that old of a religion.
Yeah.
Like you know,
So does your version of the Bible open up with like the prophet was listening to his Walkman,
right?
and then an angel came
Right.
down.
Right.
And he's like, "Hang on, Prince."
As the prophet's car self-parked itself, he wondered to himself. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So, wow, that's wild. I didn't know that. I mean, I've only met probably 2 other people that are Baha'i, and for some
Yeah.
reason we've never really had religious conversations casually.
Yeah, I mean, it's the point I was trying to make is that you know the people of that religion tend to be more affluent, and you know they tend to look down on other people sometimes as much as their religion tells them not to. But you all know how that works. So you know, my mom's family being Christian felt very looked down upon by pretty much everybody. And as much as the Baha'is were looked down on by the Muslims, the Baha'is still probably looked down on the Christians even.
Wow.
You know, so you know there was a lot of clash. My mom's family wasn't into my dad's family.
Yeah.
My dad's family wasn't into my mom's family, and we felt it even growing up because, you know, my dad's family. My dad's not religious, but his mom was, and so there was a lot of pressure to make sure we didn't become Christians and all this stuff. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's
just a
funny.
whole
It
thing.
reminds me of this Arab saying. There's an old Arabic saying, and it says, "Me and my brother against my cousin, but me and my cousin against my neighbor."
Interesting. Yeah.
Right, and it's this
Tribalism.
It's tribalism,
Right.
and it exists everywhere. I mean,
yeah.
you could say, "I'm a Lakers fan. Me and my Clippers fans
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
against."
Well,
you
it's
know,
like when
against Sacramento.
It's like when the teams get down to the playoffs. By the time they're in the playoffs, as long as the team's on your side of the country, you're rooting for 'em.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be from your city anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
So did your parents ever? Well, you were born there too.
I was born there. Yeah, I was
You,
born
but
in
you were
Tehran.
really small.
Yeah, I was about 3 years old when we left Iran, and then we traveled for a while, and we settled in the States when I was probably 4.
And when they were leaving, was it mainly because of that treatment? Like they felt like second-class citizens?
They did, and I think that was definitely played. You know, there was factors to it. They also had family that were moving here, but they definitely always sort of felt like second-class citizens, and they just sort of decided, you know, America would be a better opportunity for them and for their kids and things like that.
Kity, can I ask you a weird question? Do I remember? Tell me if sometimes I have these images of my childhood and I don't remember if it's real or not real. Very few things, but one thing in particular. Did this happen? Were you and I walking down the street in Egypt and a man saw your cross and spit on you?
No, not like that.
or-
It's just, I think I was going to church with you, and I think a neighbor saw me going to church, and he didn't spit, but he said bad
He
word.
said bad word.
Bad word.
Because I remember being a kid
Because
and like
if he spit
I
on me, I kick his ass. You know?
Yeah.
I
Even
remember,
in
I remember
Egypt,
that,
Yeah.
and I
I know.
remember like I hit him, like I was a kid, I hit his leg or something.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
was,
felt like he was attacking my mom.
yeah. But you know what? This experience happened, and I thought it's America good for us because even I'm away from my family. I see discrimination, of course, because
Yeah.
I'm married to a Muslim man. But we have Jewish in your father family, so they not discriminated any religion.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah, we had
I
every
was-
major religion in one family.
But America was great for us because for that, what you gonna do? Your son gonna do this side or this side?
Right.
It's nobody business.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, so far.
Yeah.
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 It feels like America's sliding towards that a little bit now, but it
Unfortunately,
is
true.
the great thing about America is that it doesn't matter what religion you are, you're not going to get attacked on the street by people. you
Yeah.
know, for your faith.
Yeah.
Or to have people ask you to put your religion on your driver's license, or to
We have it back home.
Not yet.
no, I know. That's what I
Yeah,
mean. Is
yeah.
they do have. There are countries where they ask you to do stuff like that, and I think people don't realize what a how strange that feels.
Yeah.
To have someone be able to stop you or treat you differently just because of what you believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that the main driver for your family, Pat, to leave Iran? Was it mainly that? Well, of
You
course,
know,
and you said like there were other people that were
I think
immigrating.
it was a combination of things, but I think ultimately, yeah, they did. I mean, they always felt like second-class citizens there, and you know, there was whispers because they left before the revolution. They left probably about 4 years before the actual Islamic Revolution, when everything got really bad.
So you left before everybody started leaving.
Did when we got here, you know, none of the Persians were here yet.
Do you know if people, if people in Iran, when they Christians in Iran in particular,
Yeah.
did they target America more in the sense like what? Target's probably not the best word to use. Don't
Yeah,
target the
yeah,
Middle East.
yeah.
Did they think of America as a better place because they thought of America as a Christian nation?
Yeah, definitely.
Ah, interesting.
Definitely that played into it. And then, of course, after the Islam, you know, most of the Persians that settled in
Which
Los
it's not supposed to be,
Angeles-
by the way.
Yeah. Which what? What?
It's fine. I mean, the
Iranians?
world refers to America as a Christian nation.
Oh, right.
But that's because we've broken our own brand.
Well, I mean,
America's always been at separation of church and state.
that's the main,
So
yeah, one of
it's
the
a-
main
one of the
parts
main
it
tenets of
really
the
is.
Constitution.
It's one of the main things that makes us great.
Yeah.
Is that part of the Constitution,
Yeah.
and we tend to forget that. But you know, it's what separates us from theocracies. You know,
Yeah.
that we supposedly feel superior to. But yeah, I mean, no, what was the question?
So I'm saying when you guys came, those were the main drivers.
Yeah.
You're treated like second class citizens.
Right.
It was a little bit before the war broke out.
Right.
But you also had friends that were coming. Did you go to LA first?
Yeah, we came to LA first, and then eventually my parents moved to New York. You know, when I was a teenager. But I grew up in a suburb of LA, in Santa Clarita, and it was very rural. You know, when my parents first moved there,
It's very white.
it was very white. Let's call it that. It was rural. I mean, look, it was. There were still shepherds crossing Bouquet Canyon, which is like one of the main arteries that goes through the town. When my parents moved there in
Yeah.
75, 76, around then.
Now there's
And,
TV shows about it, about vampires coming
Right.
from Santa
Right.
Clarita.
It's grown quite a bit. It looks like Orange County now. It didn't look like that when my parents moved there.
Yeah.
It was farm country basically. It was weird.
Wow. Did you
Yeah.
ever, when you came at a cool age, at 3.
Mm.
Did you at that age, you coming to America, did you feel American right away? Did you feel like there's no difference between me and the white kids?
Well, not right away because I didn't speak English. So I
wow.
remember vaguely being in like preschool type class and not understanding what anybody said.
Wow.
And I remember that, but I learned very quickly. That's an age that it doesn't take you long.
Yeah.
You know, it was probably not
1
very long.
month.
Yeah, that's what my parents say. I always think they're exaggerating, but I suppose it's possible at that age.
You want to know what's interesting?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen? I mean, we always see this trope all the time. There's a guy is watching a guy playing a sporting event on TV, and the guy gets kicked in the balls, and immediately you go, oh, like it's almost like you can feel it yourself because the pain was so intense
Right.
that you remember it.
Sure.
Like a coffee mug that left a stain on your table.
100%.
Right? If
yeah.
you see another guy get kicked in the balls, you feel it
Yes,
almost.
yes.
And when you just described a kid in a classroom that didn't understand the words that anybody else was saying,
I remember that. Yeah.
I felt that in my heart's balls.
Is that what cockles are?
In
Is
the
that
balls of
cockles?
my
Yeah,
heart.
Yeah.
I remember, it's such a scary feeling. I remember
Yeah,
even, there was a
yeah.
kid sitting next to me in school one time who had some kind of weird illness. Like, it wasn't measles, but he had warts like all over his face. And I was so scared. I didn't know what it meant or if I could catch something from this kid. And then they
Right.
made me sit next to the kid. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm so scared.
Was it like chicken pox? Were they trying to get
It
all
was
the kids
way
sick
worse.
at the
I
same
don't know
time,
what
like
the
that
kid
thing?
had, but it was
Huh.
something, man. And they put us in like this little pen where all the weird kids or the kids that didn't speak English were. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable.
It was like that scene in Animal House. Like,
Yeah,
where-
exactly. It was weird, man. I felt so uncomfortable, but I didn't have the ability to express what I needed to say.
Right.
I even remember one time a kid beat me up, and I said that he kicked me in the head.
Mm.
And the teacher said, he kicked you? And I said, no, I mean hit. And she goes, "Oh, well, you're lying. You can't." And I'm like, "No, I'm not lying. I just don't know the words." And it made me look like a liar. And then after that, I went, "Oh, okay. That was my first experience with authority."
Wow.
So when somebody hurts me now, the town that I live in, the butcher is also the sheriff. You know what I mean? Like I'm my own sheriff.
Right.
I can't rely on because I came into the country at that age.
Right.
So you had to learn English. You remember? So that's and so even at 3,
Yeah.
you can still feel like an outsider.
Yeah, no, it was probably I was probably more like 4 when we actually got here because we left Iran when I was 3. We traveled for a while. We probably settled here when I was 4, so it was probably like 4.5, 5.
Yeah.
It was probably kindergarten, really. That I
Sure.
remember.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then and I didn't, we didn't speak it at home really. And then after a while, it turned into the classic immigrant family of they would speak to me in Persian, we would answer in English.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
I remember doing
You know
that.
how that is, Kitty, right? Yeah.
Did you used to get mad at me when I did that?
We used to fight.
Really?
Yeah,
Because you wanted him to speak Arabic?
Yeah, because I don't know how to speak English.
Ah, so he was pulling rank on
So
you. in a way, yeah.
he tried, we fight over that. He say, I don't understand. And I said, well, I don't understand English too. So
Were you pretending not to understand, Tamer?
For sure. What a jerk.
but we have a deal. He say, I teach you English, and I said, I teach you Arabic.
Boom.
And
That's a good
boom.
deal.
Yeah. I
And
like
that's
that.
what started. And that's why he can speak now. Because
That's
of
excellent.
that. Yeah.
Well, how come everybody see? Did I ever tell you about how weird my Arabic is? No. She gave me this false confidence, Pat.
Yeah.
She makes me think
She
that
fooled
I
you into
can.
thinking
She's
you
like,
speak
"Oh, my son
Arabic."
speaks very good Arabic," but no, my language never evolved past the age I left Egypt.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So when I go back to Egypt, I
They
go there
laugh
with
at
my
you.
mother's confidence, and in my brain, I think I'm saying, "Excuse me, sir, can you show me where the restroom is?" And then the guy laughs in my face, and I'm like, "What are you laughing at?" And he goes, "You just said I have to go pee pee." I'm like, "Thanks, Mom."
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So thank you for still.
Yeah,
We
it's
we
a
made a
great
deal.
experience,
We made
yeah.
a deal, but you still ripped me off.
Yeah.
No, I can feel that I have an accent when I speak Persian.
You know what's funny
Oh,
about
yes,
me and you in
I'm sure.
particular?
I can feel it, yeah.
Because you and I both have a very Southern California accent.
That's true. It's
We both
it's
sound
like a drawl
like
almost,
pothead
probably.
surfers.
100%. And that's got to translate to something very funny in our native tongues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they must laugh at us.
Yeah.
So now you're in America. Would you say so? Obviously, the first hurdle is learning to assimilate into society.
Sure.
But I'm not going to assume that was your toughest time because you were just a kid and kids are pretty pliable.
Yeah,
So what was the toughest time for you guys? do you
Toughest
think?
time started a few years later. Toughest time was probably when I was 7 or 8. That's when the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran. That was when the Iranians took the hostages. And that was when all of a sudden Iran was on the map for a lot
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people up until then, because up until then, Iran was ruled by the Shah, and it was starting to be very westernized, and people would vacation there, and it's actually was a very beautiful country.
Yeah.
But after the revolution and after all that started, things changed. The next day, things were very different at school.
Yeah.
Black and white.
It is. It really is. It's a very defining time for me because up until then everything was peaceful. I don't remember there ever being any funniness, and then after that it was pretty dramatic. I mean, it was fights and death threats, middle of the night,
Wow.
phone calls.
You know what I remember is I know a lot of different people who have the experience of America going through a tough period with their country, right? Or America not being friendly with their
Right.
country. But the word hostage,
Oh yeah.
when Iran had American hostages,
Oh yeah.
I felt like the amount of hate and the treatment that was pointed towards Iranians was it was not like anything else.
Yeah.
It was, I remember thinking, this is so unfair.
Right.
And wanting to help a friend, but it was almost like, I wanted to help a friend, but I was like, oh, they don't hate me for a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was really.
Well, you remember
so
the old poem? First they came for the socialists, and I said nothing.
Yeah, and then they came for me, and there was
right,
no
and there was no
one
one
really
left to speak for
yeah.
me. Yeah, it was that pastor.
That was a pastor in
it was
Germany.
Yeah, during the Holocaust.
That's right. Yeah, I love that quote.
I love that quote
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
No, but I learned very quickly. I mean, we're all the same. Anybody who's an outsider, whether that means an outsider geographically, through your sexual orientation, I mean, listen, here's the thing. If all of us were the same skin color and had the same color hair and had the same jobs and lived in the same socioeconomic classes, left-handed people would be being murdered.
Right.
You know what I mean? We would find a reason to hate
Sure.
each other because we have to fight off that animalistic instinct that we have, that we have to find an enemy. We have to have an enemy.
Correct.
Like the best thing I ever heard this homeless guy say is he said that we'll never have peace because when the world has peace is when it needs men less. The least, and a man who's not busy is dangerous.
Yeah.
So it goes. War is a profit-making scheme, man.
A weapon unused is a useless weapon. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. So I learned it at a very quick age. Like we're all outsiders. It doesn't matter if you're Iranian or Egyptian or gay or have a blonde mustache.
Right.
I feel really sorry for those guys. But anytime I try to stand up for anybody, like when I'm in Egypt, I stand up for America. When I'm in America, I stand up for Egypt. I just don't like the way human beings treat people that are less than, and how they define them to be quote unquote less than.
There's nothing more American than backing the underdog, right?
100%. 100%. That's what our brand's all about. That's the thing that's scaring me right now is the kind of talk that comes out is not of America.
Right.
It's all about who's made in America, but a lot of people speaking aren't made of America.
Yeah.
And I think that matters more.
It really does.
So how did you? I can imagine your parents started getting death threats and stuff.
Oh yeah, my dad would get bricks through his restaurant window, and
oh wow, what kind of restaurant was it? Persian food?
Yeah, no, it wasn't actually Persian food. He had like a sandwich shop, grilled chicken, gyros type of restaurant, in Santa Clarita. It was he was serving gyros in Santa Clarita in 1981 or whatever. It was kind of an anachronism, but yeah.
He's like the RuPaul of falafel.
He kind of is. He's like the Johnny Appleseed of gyros.
The lone drag queen.
He's Johnny Gyro Seed.
That's funny.
I loved my dad having a restaurant, but I mean, it was really a weird time after that, because we were in a particularly conservative and white place.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were down in LA with all the other Persians. Most of the Persians that came here lived in the valley, and they lived around other Persians. I didn't see other Persian kids till I got to college.
Yeah. It's funny because I think, I have cousins in Egypt, and I think when they hear guys like you and I talking about growing up in a wealthy white neighborhood or a neighborhood that was, we eventually got to a wealthy white neighborhood, that, it must be just great. But then when we were talking, you said something that, again, kicked me in my heart's balls. And it was when you said you were visiting a white friend's house and you noticed that they washed your dishes differently.
No, actually, who I said that about was my mom.
Oh, your mom.
So that was how my mom felt when she was in Iran as a Christian.
Gotcha.
Like she would feel like, when she would go to places, where they didn't really know her, but they knew she was Christian, she would feel that they looked at her like, the word in Persian is najas. I don't know. I think it's borrowed from Arabic, but it means unclean, basically. For the Muslims, it's like, things that are najas, or they're considered unclean by the prophet or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Christians obviously are considered that. So she would feel like unclean or somehow less than when she would be around Muslims. And what I was telling you was that I got that same kind of feeling around white people when we got here.
Gotcha.
After the revolution. That I sort of felt less than. Like when I would go to people's houses, I always felt like I had to be extra proper and, make sure I put my plates, in the sink, and, there was no room to color outside the lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Even to a point where I saw some guy's mom put my plate aside from the other plates that she was washing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, there was a time where I was dating a girl where her mom was very unfriendly with me.
Oh, the girl thing.
Yeah, very unfriendly with me. Never, I went out of my way to be friendly, and I would. It's really weird when you're a kid that cracks jokes all the time, and somebody just stares at you,
Right.
deadpan. It's not like, oh, she doesn't get my sense of humor. It's like this person doesn't like me. You know, I can tell. And one time we were visiting her mom's house, and her mom said, "I need to speak to you," and she pulled her daughter away into the bedroom, and I could hear them arguing, and I was sitting alone in the living room, like so uncomfortable. And on the table was a Bible, so I opened it up, and there was all these pages that all these lines were highlighted, and it was everything about Egyptians was highlighted.
Jeez Louise.
And I remember going, "Oh my God!" Like,
Okay, so I got one better for you.
okay,
Okay, at least
I didn't know it was a competition.
I'm gonna one up you on this. No,
Okay.
at least your girlfriend's mom was using the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had a girl break up with me in high school because of the movie Not Without My Daughter.
Oh my God!
Okay, there was a movie with Sally Fields where she marries a Persian guy.
Yeah.
And he takes them back to Iran for a vacation and then keeps them there. And then Sally Field has to fight her way out of Iran with her
Yeah.
daughter. And she literally broke up with me because of that movie. And she told me that. She goes, I watched this movie and I just don't want, and I try explaining, I'm not Muslim. I can't go back there myself.
Yeah.
I literally can't go back there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the first time. An Israeli girl broke up with me in college.
Yeah.
For the same reason.
I had people on both sides break up with me too.
And here's what's funny is I'm
yeah.
not even sure which side of me she broke up with.
Me too.
No,
man.
it's true
Yeah.
because Israelis and Assyrians have a thing.
Yeah.
It's like an ancient thing.
Yeah.
And then I mean Jews and Assyrians
yeah.
have an ancient thing, and then the Persians, obviously, even though it was the Persians that technically freed the Jews from Babylon, modern Iran and Israel have that whole beef thing going on, and so this girl in college, she was Israeli, and we dated for a while, and then. At one point, she broke up with me both of them broke up with me over the phone, by the way. And she told me, she goes, I just can't, she said in not so many words, she can't take me home. She goes, because of,
Wow.
she said, because of what you are, I can't take you home. And it was painful to hear. So I didn't even ask her to clarify. But to this day,
Yeah.
and if Dahlia Boyarsky, if you're listening, feel free to text me with this
Yeah.
information. I'm not sure whether it was the Assyrian side or the Persian side that she was breaking up with.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's almost like
It's sad. It's very
it
sad.
so
must be
lame, right?
unusual for like you, Mom, and Pat's mom even.
Yeah.
You guys left a place where they treated you badly because of what they thought your belief system was.
Right.
And
Yeah.
moved us to a place where they told not just Egyptians they told the whole rest of the world, we're not like that over here.
Right.
We're not like that over here.
Yeah.
And now you're watching it happen to your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like we got catfished by America.
But it's
But
more diluted.
It's still better.
It's diluted.
Here's why it's diluted.
Yeah.
Because even with America catfishing us, it's still better than back there.
Totally.
And that's why, but we're better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's my issue with it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a catfish thing. It's almost like there was a time where I lied to this girl about living on the beach. I didn't at the time, but I like that lie so much that I eventually lived on the beach.
You made it true.
Let's make it true.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not let's make America great again. It's let's hold up our end of the bargain.
Hey, it's your version of a vision board. What can I tell you?
Exactly. Yeah. Vision board.
I have, when I was pregnant with you.
Thank you for saying with me instead of for you.
No.
For you is very
Much
creepy.
different thing. Much
Oh
different
my
thing.
God.
Yeah.
Start.
It's an important
God.
preposition.
As if there aren't
I'm
enough
not
bad
drunk.
stories going around
Crucial.
about Egypt.
Crucial preposition.
Your dad has a group of Muslim friends, and Christian.
Yeah.
But I was lucky. Your dad come from mix, Greek and Christian and Muslim. So some people, they attack me when your father was in army, and they say you need to change your religion to
Wow.
be Muslim. And
Huh.
and I said, what? So I don't answer. I let it be. And I asked your father. I said, did you ask them to ask me to do that? And he said, absolutely not. But just I want to let you
So they
something.
lied to you.
Yeah,
They
I
said
thought
Muhammad
maybe,
told us it'd
yeah,
be great if you
yeah,
change your religion. He's out
right.
there at war.
And you know
What
what?
manipulative
Yeah, and you know what
bastards.
your father told me?
Religious people?
Yeah,
Manipulative? Come on.
he say, if you change your religion, I never respect you, because you never
Wow.
forget this mistake ever in your life.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
And this is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So religion, it's something private. I like you because you are Patrick. I don't care what you believe, because I've been through lots of
Hail
discrimination.
Satan. No.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got it, almost got it when I get angry. So anyway, but even in America here, among Egyptian people, they come from Christmas night after the church. They don't shake my hand because I married to Muslim man.
Wow. And there's nothing less Christian than that.
Yes.
That's like the least
It's so
Christian
funny, yeah.
thing you could do on the
Yeah.
most Christian day of the year.
Yeah, and believe it or not, he was better than anybody from this group.
Well, you know,
course.
Baha'is are supposedly the whole Baha'i. There's literally bumper stickers they have. If you ever see a bumper sticker that says "One people, one planet, please," that's the Baha'is. The Baha'is are all about unifying. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But that's on paper. So you know, so my grandmother, my dad's mom, was very religious. She was a very religious Baha'i. She was a zealot, ultimately. She, you know, her husband died when she was very young, and she became all about her religion, and became too much about her religion. She swallowed the Tide Pod, right? So basically, she was a big problem growing up, like within our family, like interfering with my mom and her raising of us, and doing things to make sure we weren't going to be Christians, trying to make us not learn Assyrian. Assyrian's a much different language than Persian, and so.
But what are the tenets of Baha'i? Like what's it close?
It's
What's it close to?
close to Islam.
Oh, it's close to Islam.
It's the Mormonism of Islam.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's the Mormonism of Islam.
Interesting.
But the big no-no that they do, which
So
is
it's similar to Mormons in a way.
similar to Mormons,
Yeah.
except for Christians didn't mass murder Mormons like
Yeah.
the Muslims, because there was literally a Baha'i Holocaust in Iran,
Wow.
which is why my dad's family is all over the world, because anybody that stayed got killed.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, they would get paper smuggled out of Iran, and they would see
Because
their
they are
families
Christian.
because they were Baha'i.
All behind.
The Christians and the Jews are tolerable because their prophets came before Muhammad.
Yeah.
But Muhammad said, "I'm the last one."
Ah,
He said, "I'm the final imam."
Yeah.
And then comes Baha'u'llah, who is the Baha'is' prophet, and he came after. So that is their big beef with the Baha'is.
Yeah.
Is that they're,
You know what I heard somebody say? Like, I keep thinking all the time, why would an entire country, like, it's almost like when a guy who a cop with a dog and he says, "Sick him, go get him," and the dog like goes after that person. He goes, "No, go sick that person. Now go sick this person." It's almost like society is a dog on a leash, and when governments tell people hate this person, hate that person, that we just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering like where this comes from. Why does this happen? And when I was in London a few months ago, I heard this comic say this great thing. He was explaining Brexit. And he goes, listen, Brexit, he's all the way that the government's impact on society and on culture, on the definition of fairness, is all based on their ability to make it simple. He's like, you have to chop things up. Brexit is a really complex problem, so it made it fertile ground to manipulate and control people. He's like, because when you have a really complex problem, people will listen to simple solutions.
Sure.
So when you have a problem like Brexit, where the real problem was this European center that ruined the economy, that messed up Greece's economy, messed up Spain, messed up the refugee crisis with the people on boats in the Mediterranean, instead of blaming these 20 to 50 people that worked at the European Union, they blamed nationalities. They
Right.
blame races
Sure.
and immigrants.
Sure.
Because that's what they do.
Sure.
They go, I can't explain to you the mistakes that we made with this math problem and that hire, or this guy that I hired, but I don't want to fire yet because he's still part of my team. Can't blame that guy. What can we blame?
Right.
Let's blame the people who will damage us the least.
Right.
Let's blame poor people people who don't get to vote that much, people who are not unified. And when we're not unified, we're susceptible to be the next target.
Sure.
And I think that's how it happened to our parents, and then it happened to us, and now it's starting to happen again.
Yeah.
And it's like we have to break that cycle. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think every race and nationality has to go through a vetting process, but depending on the color of your skin, that vetting process can be a lot longer.
Yeah.
before
Like, you know what? I don't mind
accepted.
racism.
Right.
I think that vetting process made us stronger people.
Right.
I love who my mom is. I like who you are. I like who I am. And I feel like all of my favorite people are people who went through tough times.
Sure.
So they don't need to take away. I don't care if someone wants to underestimate me in a fight called life. Please do. It gives me the advantage.
Sure.
It makes me more likely to win
Right.
if you underestimate me. My issue's with institutionalized racism.
Right.
You can't sit in business class and have me pay the same as you.
Sure.
If you want to sit in business class, if you want superior race legroom, then you have to pay more money for it.
Superior.
You
race
should have,
legroom.
right? Like you should have to pay more money for it. But I'll tell you one thing, dude, and this is a great segue. I think like the reason why a lot of my favorite people are people like my mom and people like you is that you endured these tough times and you came across the other side and you're like some of the most successful people I know in your given fields or your given areas. And like, so speaking of success and being happy, and what do you think was your happiest time since you've been in the country?
I would have to
Which
say,
it's so weird for me to say since you've been in the country.
Right.
You've been here since you're 3.
Yeah.
You're
so
a freaking
happiest
American.
time of my life, I guess. Yeah. I would have to say it was probably when I went to college, and that's probably because it's the first time I truly had a chance to kind of be myself and kind of find out who I
Blend
was.
in.
Yeah, because it was both because my parents were 3,000 miles away, but more so because of the blending in thing.
It's funny. I'm going to say something that sounds like a paradox.
Yeah.
It was big enough to fit in.
Yeah.
Big enough
That's
to
a
blend
great,
in.
That's a great way to put it.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like we're such odd fish that we need a bigger pool for us to look just like normal
it's
fish.
true. Yeah, it's true. And you need to be in a place where there's other kind of racially ambiguous people, you know.
It made me feel really American going to
Right.
college.
Yeah.
Even though like I came here when I was a little kid, I have these cultural blind spots, you know, like when other kids were playing baseball, I was playing soccer. When I learned to play baseball, I had to go to t-ball first because baseball wasn't in my genes, you know.
Right.
I didn't know how to do jumping jacks right. They put me in a class with special needs kids and one Guatemalan because we didn't know how to do jumping jacks. Like, so I always just felt like I'm a broken American. I'm just not. You don't feel like an Egyptian. You feel like a broken American.
Right.
And then college just felt like, okay, everybody at this age, we're all new at this together.
Totally.
And I went, this is the most American
It's
I've
a
ever
reset.
felt.
Yeah,
it's a reset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's how I felt too.
But
That's how I felt too.
You know what, Tamer? I think now I look, I'm so proud. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm so proud from young age. I teach you about all 3 religion.
Yeah.
And I said, you believe all these 3 and respect all these 3
Yeah.
and don't listen to anybody. And people, if they ask you Christian, you Muslim, I love all 3 religion. And you grow up with open mind. And the different with my religion and married to different religion make me feel good. Not love all lesbian and gay because I felt that this discrimination for them. So I have lots of friends lesbian and gay for that because I know how
awesome.
they feel.
That's awesome.
My mom was
Yeah.
like one of the first people, and I've said this before, but I think I've said it, and I don't think the weight of it, I don't think people realize the weight of it. My mom's best friend was a gay flower shop owner who had HIV.
Yeah.
At a time when people thought if you touch gay people,
You'll
get
get
it.
sick.
Right.
you'd
Yeah.
get AIDS
Right.
and die.
Right.
And then it was the only time I saw my mom like in his. I see my mom manipulate my dad in the nicest version of that word, where in Egypt they say the man might be the head of the family, but the woman is the neck.
The neck, right.
So my
right.
mom was good at turning his head, but I'd never seen her make eye contact and say no until the day he said, "I don't want my son going to visit Bob in the hospital." And my mom was like, "No, we're going to go visit Bob in the hospital.
We all.
And we all did, and
did.
he came with
You
us.
came too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's I'm so glad that I had you as a mom. You would not believe the emails I get from people, from Middle Eastern kids specifically, who tell me how lucky I am. And how either they say they wish they had you as a mom, or the women say that that's the kind of woman I want to be.
Don't make me cry because
Yeah.
today
That's
something I'm gonna steal second from you, Patrick.
No, please.
Today was a guy. I work on a golf course.
Huh.
At 12 o'clock, I have phone call. I answer. The guy, he say, hey, Maggie, I'm running late. Please, running late. So, but I'm coming. I have a traffic. I said, listen, the golf course is right here, not going anywhere. Just drive carefully. Don't worry about it. We take care of you when you come over. So when he come over, he say, where is Maggie? And I turn around, I was in a corner, and he said, I'm glad you make it. And he said, you know what? You sincerely worry about me, and I appreciate it very much. And
Oh,
I
that's
need
nice.
to sign today to be member here because I love people take care of me.
That's cool.
So I have.
Oh, that's really
I
nice.
work with young women. She was laughing. She told him, "Don't make her,
Get a big head?
Yeah.
create." And he said, "Absolutely not." But you know what? I feel sad in same thing. You know why? Because that's mean we're not nice to each other.
You're right.
Nobody
Right.
You're right.
we low
Right.
with the nice and
That if
kind
someone,
word.
if a
Kind
stranger
word.
acts like they give a
Yes.
damn about your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
It's
touched.
weird.
Yes.
Yeah, it's weird
Yeah.
for
All
them.
I said,
Yeah.
just drive carefully. We
Yeah.
take care of you.
Right.
So, and he says sincere, you was sincere. I went and I hugged him and I felt good, but in
That's so
meantime,
nice.
I felt sad.
Yeah, at the
Because we
same
need
time.
to encourage little bit
And you know what?
kind words.
It's that kind of realness that corporations can't mimic.
Yeah.
When someone says, it'll be my pleasure to transfer you, that's
Right.
them trying to mimic what you did.
Right. A
Trying
real-
to make people, but people
Yeah.
say that phrase, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's
It'll be my pleasure. It'll be my pleasure. No, it's not your pleasure.
Yeah.
Don't say it unless it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you hire real people, hire genuine people.
Just say, it's my job to transfer you. Hold on.
I would like that better. But it shows you how much humanity, like
Yeah.
when I see those women who are dressed in hijab and they paint just their hands and they paint their feet, right?
Uh-huh.
You ever see those women? They're covered everything in a hijab, but their hands are sticking out and their hands are painted this beautiful design. So beautiful, you can't help but stare, right?
Yeah.
And it makes me think of like, I saw a sidewalk and a flower, a crack in concrete with a flower coming out. And I go, that is what beauty does to the hijab.
Yeah.
It doesn't, if it's human nature, it will crack through. It doesn't matter if a woman is covered up or in a hijab, or if you cover her or you make people not stare. There is a human desire to show self-expression, to be yourself, to show beauty. I'm not saying there's anything wrong if it's your choice. For all my hijabi sisters, I love you. I think you're beautiful the way you are. But for people who feel like they want to express more and they're not able to, it cracks cement and it shows its way out.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I love that, Mom. That's so nice.
really
They're
cool.
really lucky to have you. And I'm really, that's a really,
No,
I'm-
it's just I felt sad. I said that's me, and
Yeah.
we don't kind enough to say every day. If everybody say one word, it's gonna be okay. You
Yeah,
felt
let's just
you-
be nice to each
yeah,
other.
Just one word a day.
Yeah.
You see somebody walking the street alone, say hello. How are you?
Yeah.
A pregnant woman walking, tell her good luck. Something.
unless
like
she's
that.
not pregnant, then she'll
Oh,
hit you in the
well,
face.
No. I mean, you can
luck with
tell.
what?
Not overweight.
I'm like, what is this, your third trimester? Boom, I got hit by a lesbian.
No, I mean it. But smile. Somebody cut you off in the freeway, let it go. It's okay. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
you're right.
so,
That's the right,
yeah,
that's the right
yeah,
attitude to
yeah,
have.
Yeah.
And Pat, dude, like honestly, man, like of all the people I've met, you're like one of the hardest working guys. You have an amazing relationship with your brother.
Yeah.
Like where you guys started your own company together. Like I look at you guys and I go, man, it's not often that I'm envious and I say, oh, I wish I had a brother. But if I did have a brother, I'd want to have the relationship that you
thanks,
have
man.
with Pet.
Yeah,
Like you guys have
thanks.
such a great relationship
Yeah.
and like the kindest guy. Like your dog, Sammy is like I love that. I love the shit out of that dog. You take really good care of him. You're just a good dude. We miss you in comedy, though. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
Yeah.
We miss your voice in comedy.
Save me a spot.
I will always save you a spot.
Save me a spot.
Because, dude, I'll never forget. Do you want to? Can I remind you what happened the night you made me go up?
What's that?
So, I hadn't performed. I hadn't finished taking this class yet, Jerry Katzman's class, and Patrick said you should do my show, and I'm all, but my class doesn't end for a few more weeks, so I have the showcase. He goes, dude, you're fine. You'll be ready. He puts me on this show where everybody is a killer comic. And then he goes up to me and he goes, hey, listen. So I'm watching. The first comic goes up. It was almost a standing ovation. That's how good every comic was. And I'm sitting there. There's sweat coming out of my palms. Like I'm just sweating. And I'm sitting there. And then Pat sits down next to me and goes, hey, I got a little bit of news. Somebody told me there's a reporter from the LA Times.
Oh, wow.
And so if you could just, I'm going to put you last because they might leave, and they won't see you. So I'll put you last. But if they do stay, just do like your best 6. And then Pat walks away and I look at the girl next to me and I go, I only have 5. I was so scared.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I was so scared.
That was the
That's a
night.
good
I
story.
remember that night.
Remember that night?
Totally.
I
yeah.
got so. I have a video of that night.
That's so crazy.
I literally have a video of Patrick welcoming me to the stage the first time I performed comedy
That's
ever.
rad.
And I had
that's
2 good jokes
awesome.
that worked, and the rest bombed. But the 2 good jokes made me go, I could do
I knew
this.
you'd be fine because all the other comics like killed it so good.
They were so good,
Yeah,
and then a
you're-
brand new comic.
You were pre-warned.
It was like 4 headliners, and
pre-warned.
then a brand new comic.
Hey, turned out it was okay. Turned out it was an okay move.
I survived.
Yeah.
I survived. Well, dude, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
no
being a
worries.
guest on the show.
No
I
worries at
wanted
all.
to have you on for so long.
I
and
appreciate you having me on. I
it's
really
great
do.
to have you here.
Yeah,
Do Baha'i faith, does it have any kind of a shout out?
Not that I'm aware of.
Like you guys don't have
Probably.
You guys don't have a da-da-da-da-da Baha'i.
No,
You
we
don't have
don't.
that?
No, but I mean, I think you just wrote it. I think you just wrote the jingle.
Hey, one people, one world, please.
It's one planet, one people, please. That's
I
the
like
motto
that.
of the
That's
Baha'is.
nice.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
should love any religion.
Yeah.
Respect
Unless they're
every
eating people.
religion.
Yeah, you know.
Eating babies or having sex with,
Oh, you said to Patrick, it's okay to call you Patrick,
You
right?
can call me.
Pat
Still
or
call me late for
Patrick.
Sam.
Patrick,
Yeah.
you said you're jealous from his brother relationship, and you wish you have a brother, but you eat. I want to have 6 kids, and you eat it all.
That's true. I ate all the other kids.
So don't blame it on
That's my
me.
mom's big joke.
Yeah, he did it.
There were
So-
6. My mom was giving birth like a cat. There were like 6 kids in her room, and I just ate
And
them.
you just, well, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. There are days I wish I was an only child.
Oh no.
So let's keep that between us.
No,
That's
but-
hilarious.
No,
Well, dude, is there anything you want to promote or anything like that?
No, nothing. Just I love this podcast. I'm really, really glad
Thanks,
that you had
man.
me on.
how about new business? You should.
No, I don't want to do that on
Okay.
this. This is not the
Okay.
place for
Different
that.
audience,
Not
I
a place
think.
for this. Yeah,
Okay.
And
not a place for
I
that,
love
yeah.
that you're wearing the King Eddie Saloon
The
t-shirt.
King Eddie Saloon. Check
Just
it out
we're-
downtown, 5th and Los Angeles. My buddy's bar. You know,
And it
yeah.
used to be the bar Charles Bukowski
It is the
used to
Bukowski
drink
bar.
at.
Correct.
Which is weird. Do you
Yeah.
remember we had
Yeah.
Simone Nobili?
Yeah.
The Italian
yeah,
guy
yeah,
who had
yeah.
like a
So
Charles.
cute, yeah.
He's a huge Bukowski fan.
Yeah,
I should
yeah.
tell Simone.
Oh, is
about
he
that.
really? Tell him to go
Huge.
there.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell him to go to the King Eddie
Yeah.
and check it out.
For sure.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much as always for listening. Please keep telling your friends, listening and reviewing us. If you're looking for live comedy, you can follow me at tamerkattan.com, which will soon have They Tried to Bury Us podcast.com coming soon, where you'll be able to listen to all the episodes and YouTube videos. The podcast is now on video, so you can see our weird faces. And we have new merch coming out soon. And also on Instagram, I'm at Tamer Kat, and my mom is on Instagram at Kity Kattan.
K-I-T-Y, Kattan.
K-I-T-Y Kattan. You're good, man.
I am.
You're good.
Really good.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.